You're listening to the Voices of Change only on Intellectual Radio. I'm Jan, and I'll be your host this evening. And this beautiful girl, this beautiful young lady next to me,
I'm Shamel. I'll be your co-host for the evening.
Shamel, who I call Melly. And what does Elliot call you? That's right, he's not here.
No, so it doesn't matter.
Right, it doesn't matter at all. E. Roland is supposed to be, he said he probably can't be here. He has another engagement. He's so important these days
I know.
in the music world.
We're so little to him now.
I know. So he tries to fit us in.
Yes.
But earlier today, he was on the Wanda He Said, She Said show for an hour. He gave her an hour.
Oh, hello.
So blessed by that. I have to give shout outs to our partners, first starting with GV Entertainment. And I know they're going to be rolling out this new theatrical production. It's titled Reverend David and Sister Bathsheba, A Story of Power and Seduction. It is something that you need to see. It's a biblical adaptation of the story of David and Bathsheba. So you can imagine this is going to be hot, hot, hot. Also, Oda Enterprises out of Indianapolis, Indiana, and Gray Tax Service. I typically start off with the scripture for today. I'm going to use one of the ones that I love, one of my favorite ones. It's Jeremiah 29:11, and it goes, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." For today's show, we're going to talk about, everyone's been talking about it this week, Amber. The verdict.
Yeah.
Oh, man. We're going to talk about Amber. We're going to talk about the trial. We'll talk about the verdict. We're going to talk about Mammy-in. I'll call it Mammy-in because people were really acting like a mammy when you have a bailiff fixing her hair, when you have a judge giving her a hug. I don't know what all that was about, but we'll talk about it, and you can talk about it too. And also murder. I heard something late yesterday about one of the witnesses, and he suddenly, mysteriously has been murdered. So we're going to talk about all that today. But before that, we'll start with the news you can use. We'll be right back momentarily. The song you heard starting off the show was from Voices of Change, one of our favorites, Dante Hall. We're waiting for someone to bring some more music in for us. But that was Dante Hall, and we'll be listening to him today. So we'll be right back.
If I gave you my love, I tell you what I do. I'd expect a whole lot of love out of you. You got to treat me good. I'll be good.
For those just tuning in, you're listening to the Voices of Change on Intellectual Radio, and this segment is news you can use. I want you to share, and tell everyone you know to listen to the Voices of Change. The first story is about your president-in-chief, Donald Trump. Donald Trump said in a tweet, this story ticked me off worse than Ukraine. He said in a tweet that if he's removed from office, a civil war might erupt in the United States. The president was quoting Pastor Robert Jeffries of Fox News, who suggested that impeaching the president would lead to civil war. Can you believe he said something like that?
What's the two sides?
What's what?
What's the two sides? Who's fighting? It's a civil war. So last
A civil
time the
war.
civil war
A
was in
civil
North.
war.
I know, but
yeah.
what's the two sides? Who's? Thank you. It was the North and the South back then, right?
Well,
What we got now?
maybe he's saying, that's a good question, because you can't even say Democrats and Republicans, because a lot of them have the same kind of feelings. You can't necessarily say black from whites, because one of my friends went to the White House this weekend. She's going to be on the show if she consents to do so, to tell us about her visit. It was for young black Republicans, and she had video footage from there. And it was a room full of people. I said, I want you to come on the show and tell me about your visit. She calls him affectionately Donnie. So I guess it's not black versus white. He also said during that little encounter and meeting with the black young Republicans, he also told them something like African Americans built this country. I mean, she had all this stuff on video, from the White House and this and that. And I am so hoping that she comes on the show. She's not shy, so I'm sure she will.
Great.
But he said Civil War II, the divided country. Maybe the division is those for Trump and those against him. Maybe those will be the ones.
Oh, okay.
I just thought to even put something out there as the leader of a major country is so offensive. That this to me was more offensive and should be checked into. I mean, he can't go around saying stuff like this. Anyway, here we go.
Obviously.
Obviously, because he does.
There we go.
A multiple Grammy Award winner. She was a towering figure on operatic concert and recital stages. Her name was Jessie Norman, the renowned international opera singer who made an impact as both a music icon and humanitarian, has died. She was 74. Norman died on Monday morning at 7:45 a.m. at Mount Sinai St. Luke's Hospital in New York. The Grammy Award-winning singer died of septic shock and multiple organ failure secondary to complications of a spinal cord injury she had sustained in 2015. We are so proud of Jessie's musical achievements and the inspiration that she provided to audiences around the world that will continue to be a source of joy for her spokesperson stated. We are equally proud of her humanitarian endeavors addressing such matters as hunger, homelessness, youth development, arts, and culture and education. She'll be missed.
Yeah.
Another icon this week passed away. Um, to me, this lady exuded class and elegance and all that. Diana Carroll, who pioneered television with her starring role in the 1968 series Julia, died Friday. She was 84. She died early Friday following a battle with breast cancer, according to her publicist. Known as much for her talent as she was for her beauty and elegance, Carroll was beloved for her work in Julia, as well as her subsequent performance as a wealthy and cultured Dominique Devereux in the 1980s ABC primetime soap opera Dynasty. She became the first African American woman to star in a network sitcom not revolving around a stereotypical character when Julia premiered way back in 1968. Her role as a widowed nurse, Julia Baker, who was raising a charming young son, also broke ground for its portrayal of a Black woman as something other than a domestic worker. While some call Julia groundbreaking for its non stereotypical premise, as a show for what they saw as a simplified depiction of the Black experience in America in the late 60s. She also played Claudine and the Five Heartbeats. She had a role in both of those. In 1998, Carroll told the Television Academy Foundation she was reluctant to do the series. She said, I really didn't believe that this was a show that was going to work. I thought it was something that was going to relieve someone's conscience for a very short period of time, and I really thought, let them go somewhere else. Well, I'm glad she decided to play Julia. The series earned her an Emmy nomination and a Golden Globe Award. Carroll already had an established career by the time she was asked to do Julia. Born Carol Diane Johnson in New York City, she attended the New York High School of Music and Art on a scholarship. At the age of 16, she adopted the name Diana Carroll and won an audition for the Arthur Godfrey's Talent Scouts television show. The opportunity led to radio performances, modeling work, and singing in nightclubs. She will be missed. She also went to school with Billy D. Williams. I thought that was kind of cool, too.
She had a great career.
Yeah, a great long career. A great long career. And this final story is going to be the lead-in to our Real Talk segment because everyone knows we're going to talk about Amber and the verdict and the trial, the Mamian people, and murder. Amber Geiger, the former Dallas police officer who was convicted of murdering Botham Jean, her upstairs neighbor who she shot to death when she entered it, thinking it was her apartment and that he was a burglar, was sentenced to 10 years in prison on Wednesday. Authorities say a witness in the murder trial of a white Dallas police officer who fatally shot her Black neighbor has been killed in a shooting. I thought this was horrible. The Dallas Morning News reports that authorities said Joshua Brown, who lived in the same apartment complex as Amber Geiger, and her neighbor, Botham Jean, was fatally shot on Friday. Joshua Brown lived in the same apartment complex as Geiger and was their neighbor, and was a neighbor of Botham Jean, killed. Police would not confirm to the Associated Press that it was Brown who was shot, pending family notification. They said police responded to the shooting shortly after 10:30 p.m. Friday, then again said several witnesses flagged officers down and directed them to an apartment parking lot where the man who was shot was lying on the ground with multiple gunshot wounds. And that's the news you can use on Voices of Change today. And we'll be right back after a quick break, and we're going to start talking more in detail about the trial and the verdict. We'll be right back.
I'm tripping out over you, baby, over you, girl, yeah. I'm tripping over you, baby, over you, girl, yeah. Each day I'm not with you is like a day without sunshine. I'm hung up on you, babe. You become a part of me. You're not like other girls, or is it my imagination? This pounding in my heart is all because of you. You got me tripping out over you, my. Oh, tripping out over you. Yeah. Tripping out over you, girl. Yeah. Oh, tripping out over you. Oh, now let me be your slave. For I have learned to worship you. Anything you say.
For those just tuning in, you're listening to the Voices of Change on Intellectual Radio, and that again was Dante Hall. I think he's been pretty busy lately. Didn't he open up for Lettucey this week?
He did on Friday.
Oh yeah, and he's been doing all kind of things.
It's pretty cool for him.
Yeah, he has that new song out. I guess we're gonna have to get him back on the show. Wish I could get him back on the show to sing, but
I know, right? Have our own little
like right out here.
like your Christmas show.
Yeah, mic him up and have a little concert. Okay, so right now I'm gonna read some of the comments, and I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Carol, hey, I'm so glad you tuned in again. Good evening, she says. Dear hearts, truly enjoyed last week's show, and we enjoyed your comments. Thank you so much for tuning in again. Mary Anderson, hey Mary. Hey, Mary. Tiffin Price Horton, my soror and an attorney. So I'm sure if there's any questions that I have to ask, I'm going to be fielding them out to you, and hopefully you'll be responding. And it says on here, I don't know, it looks like you're having a conversation. You've been an attorney almost 30 years, 29 years. Wow. Mark Harris is watching. Also Gertrude Graham Farmer. Hey, Taylor, how you doing, sweetheart? And I think that's about it. I'll try to read your comments as we go through. Romaine, so you did click on. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Appreciate all y'all. Okay, so we're going to start with some background from it. When it started on September 6, 2018, according to police reports and court documents, Geiger, a 4-year Dallas police veteran, had come home from a 13-hour shift and had gone to an apartment directly above her own. She was off duty, but still in uniform when she went to the door. It was unlocked and not latched correctly when she tried to enter it. So, starting off here, She parks on the wrong floor, and she went to the wrong apartment. According to an affidavit, Geiger saw that the apartment was dark, and thinking a shadow she saw across the room, she drew her weapon, claimed to have given verbal commands, then fired twice, striking Jean, 26 years old, in the chest. Neighbors in the residential complex located not far from downtown Dallas testified in the trial that they did not hear Geiger shouting normal commands. So she said she shouted commands, but the neighbors said they didn't hear her shouting commands. They did hear indistinct shouting and finally 2 gunshots. I don't know what the indistinct shouting that they could have heard. I don't know what that could have been. Don't know. Geiger called 911, and as she turned on the light, she testified. She realized after she shot him, after she saw this tall, shadowy figure in the dark, and after she shot him, she called 911. That's when she realized she was in the wrong apartment. She began to attempt to revive Gene, or she claims to have revived him. And as officers arrived, they attempted CPR. He was taken to an area hospital and later pronounced dead. Days later, she was arrested and charged with manslaughter, and within weeks was fired by the Dallas Police Department. In November 2018, she was indicted for murder. With the sentence, many feel, I do not want to read that part yet. So we have this set up as her going into this apartment that's not hers, on the wrong floor, and the transcript said that he intentionally and purposely had a red placemat in front of his apartment.
Yeah.
To differentiate it, probably. Time to breathe, huh?
Yeah, you know,
I know.
Apple Watch tells
Apple
you when
Watch
to breathe.
tell you when to stand, tell you when to breathe.
Hey.
So he intentionally had a red rug in front of it. Probably so because when you're in those apartments, all of them kind of look alike. So he probably did that. So that would kind of stop people.
Not even stop them just because you want a welcome mat at your door.
No, but it was a bright red welcome mat. She didn't have a bright red.
Well, I'm just
mat.
saying, him having it there is just because some people like a welcome mat outside their door, not just to be like, oh, don't come here because this is not yours. It's just like,
well, I'd probably have it if it was like you've been in like where you have all these.
I've lived in a place where everything looked the same.
So you want something that
If you went
differentiates
to a different building, the door still looks the same. Everything
right.
looks like
Everything
yours.
looks the same.
Yeah. So I had stuff to differentiate mine, but just because I wanted it there, it's not like so people.
Because well, he probably wasn't thinking that much. Why would you think that somebody's gonna come in your house?
Exactly.
But just the fact that he had this red is critical.
And she knew that.
Well, yeah.
You saw that big red mat on the ground, and you know you don't have a big red mat on the ground outside your house.
Do you
somebody gave me a mat? No.
Do you think she intentionally went in there because she knew she didn't really know him? From what I understand, she's called the police on him for loud music, but she didn't know him, have a relationship with him.
So after her 13-hour shift, she said
she was sexting her police boyfriend and went in the wrong apartment.
She was racist anyway.
Yeah, let's talk about that too.
Those text messages she had about there was a march going on, and she said some very vulgar things about when does this end? And she was talking about that march, and then when MLK is dead, and she was like, "Oh wait,
he's already that that's funny."
Okay, yeah, no.
And there's a couple others that they eloquently brought out all this stuff, to show a trend. She was a young girl too.
Yeah,
she was like 31.
Just push them or spray or pepper spray in that general area. What? Who does that?
And then I tried.
You're not human.
I tried to be objective, and I said, okay, if something happened to you, because I thought about it for me, and if they were able to access all my every transcript of every text, every message, every conversation, would they hear anything with racial overtones?
No.
Okay.
Not in my text messages. Why you laugh?
She's like,
No, because I don't. No, they regardless. They listening to you at home. They listening to you through your phone. It's like you can say, "Oh, I need to go to Walgreens," and then
and
you
they'll say,
scroll
I
through
didn't get that.
Facebook,
Wait.
and you'll see a Walgreens poster. It's like they're listening to everything you do. Alexa, she listened to you. Okay, whatever. I got one. Love her to death. They listening to me on everything. So I'm gonna just stop living because
No, 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 no. But what I was thinking was, okay, so and I came up with very similar to your response. I said, okay, if they were looking at all my texts and everything I said and all my conversations,
no,
would it have racial overtones?
no, not
Okay.
me.
Me either, I don't think. I don't
I don't text about
I know I would
people
never
I don't
know.
care about. So
Oh my gosh. The Dallas County jury of 10 non-whites and 2. So the jury had 10 non-whites and 2 whites.
yeah,
Picked a nice jury. Came up with a sentence after about 90 minutes of deliberating.
I have some of those.
90 minutes of deliberating. They rejected the sudden passion defense, which suggested that there was heavy emotional circumstances rather than premeditation. The sentence range was between 5 and 99 years. With a murder conviction, she would be eligible for parole after half her sentence is served. So we know we can fast forward and we know she got 10 years. So that tells me that after 5 years,
She out of there.
she can get out. 5 years.
I just know she need to be treated just like every other inmate who can't get a job, who can't live, who can't. I need you to suffer too, because his family lost. Even though he had a brother hugged her, but they lost a family member because you went into the wrong apartment. And oh, feeling so sad for her. I don't have that sympathy at this moment. I don't have it because this is a constant thing that's happening to African Americans, and they constantly get off. She didn't get off, but she got off. You got 5 years.
Tell us how you really feel.
I'm
Geiger
just
herself
saying.
requested that if found guilty, a jury hand down her sentence rather than the trial judge. The same jurors found the ex cop guilty after 5 hours of deliberation on Tuesday, much to the elation of those who had watched. Some showed frustration outside the courtroom, though, after the sentence was read. But Jean's mother, Allison, the mother of the boy who died, was stern with her response to the sentencing and did not mention forgiving Geiger, as her youngest son did, but focus on the mistakes made by the Dallas police force. That 10 years in prison is 10 years for her reflection and for her to change her life, said Jean. But there is so much more to be done by the city of Dallas. The corruption that we saw during this process must stop, but it must stop for you. The poor use of what should have been training is what we see coming out of this case, she continued. That should never happen again. If this was applied in the way that it ought to have been, my son would still be alive. This is interesting because we all know the 18-year-old brother of Botham. Um, he was almost pleading with the judge. He said, "Can I hug her? Can I hug her?" I think he said more than once. That's what I'm saying. He was almost pleading. He did ask twice, "Can I hug her? Can I hug her?" And I think they probably thought, maybe they thought, because I was thinking, okay, maybe he got a knife or something, and when he hug her, you're gonna stab her.
Hey, that part, because I would.
No, I'm just, oh my God.
I'm just saying, like, I would have jumped her or something. I was like, yeah, I
Well,
want to
and
hug her.
that's what I
Yeah.
thought, because I'm
I'm
thinking, okay,
sorry. Like, that, oh
does
no,
he
somebody
really
did
want to?
that.
But he did, and she almost jumped in his arms, and he hugged.
You thought they was dating.
No, you know what?
You thought
See,
they was dating.
no,
But
but she
it's like,
did. She just looked kind of like, and he hugged her. But then I thought about it. Forgiveness,
man, I'm tired of forgiving
you know what? And I get
them
that, but maybe he felt like he need to get this off of him.
for him.
Yeah, for him. So, and forgiving someone don't mean that they should not be punished.
No, not at
Forgiving
all.
someone
Yeah,
now.
but it look like we just turning the other cheek. It's like it used to be. Okay, no violence back in the day. Turn the other cheek. And we, as a culture, as Black people, we're always forgiving. We always say, okay, no problem. It's like, no, forget you. That's how I feel. No, 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 and No,
Well, you have to be honest with yourself. I mean,
I am.
I personally feel like I know I would not have hugged her. Are you serious?
No,
But that
forget you.
that the 18-year-old, he's 18 years old. The
There you
18-year-old
go.
didn't so much bother me. What really bothered me,
The Bailey
a
Hood
bailiff. Have you ever seen a bailiff turn into a hairdresser during trial?
for a black person, for anybody. I bet she wouldn't have did it for no black person. Oh, you shouldn't. You got it here anyway. See, that's the thing. We're against each other. We're not for each other. It's like you probably deserve to be here anyway because you want what? Forget her and her crying white privilege.
Oh my.
I'm sorry, but it's like no, you did this.
Well, you know what? She was
I ain't fixing nothing. You gonna look raggedy when
she
they give you
was
this verdict.
she was probably
The way you
instructed.
deserve to look.
She was probably instructed that she'll get sympathy and she'll get more sympathy than it normally works. And if she really turn on the tears and do what she should do,
Well,
she may get off.
she played
And
her role
she
right,
and she
but I
got
wouldn't.
she's gonna end up getting 5 years. It's pretty close. I mean, you could steal a bike and you get more than 5 years here in Chicago.
I need somebody to know this case in that jail and just give her the business.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm just saying, like, what? No, it's like I don't know. Maybe God will get her the justice she deserves later on, but
He
because
always
the
does.
court system is rigged, is what it is. They got to go by what the laws are, and we can't take the law into our own hands. But the justice system is rigged. I'm just saying.
And why did the black female judge step down, give her a Bible, and hug her? Talk about mammy in. That woman was mammy for real. She stepped down, gave her a Bible, and hugged her.
Say probably get in there. When you get in there, you need this to pray because they gonna whoop you. Not
But to hug, wait, does she do that to everyone? Is that even appropriate?
no,
Should they sit her down for a minute so she'll kind of,
no, they ain't gonna sit her
the
down.
protocol
Cause
is,
if she white, they like, oh, she helping us out. No, they ain't gonna sit her down. Cause she was the white lady. Now if it was a black person, oh, excuse me, you cannot do that. There's a way. Yeah, she's white, so they not gonna sit her down. No, they not. They're gonna be, oh, that's a pat on the back, girl. Good job. She might get a promotion to Supreme Court. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. Okay.
and then they talked about how the prosecutors did a good job. They used her disciplinary record, times she shot people and other times and texts and social media posts to show that her sentence should not be light, even though it was. They showed it. In one example, like you mentioned, she made jokes at Martin Luther King Day parade, including one in which she texts, "Just push him or spray your pepper spray in that general area." Now that's oops, that's not
Rude.
funny.
It's
That is
rude.
not funny. That
That's why I
no.
don't have no sympathy for her. I'm sorry.
During the trial, defense
I
lawyers
don't.
tried to convince jurors that Geiger legitimately. Okay, so the defense lawyers tried to prove that she legitimately believed she was defending herself since she thought she was in her own apartment.
They try to use that law.
They
What's that
tried to
law?
use the castle doctrine, and from what I understand, the judge allowed it. The judge allowed them to use the castle doctrine,
But it's not her house.
but
It's not her
the
residence.
judge said her reality was her perception. Her perception was,
She was at
if
home.
you're to believe it, she thought she was home. But it's inconsistencies in that because she did not see a tall, shallowy, billowy person because he was sitting down getting ready to eat ice cream. But okay, let's
But
continue.
you yell commands at a man who eating ice cream. He wasn't doing nothing. And did he charge you? Did he? I probably been like, hey, lady, what you doing in my house? But was the door really open? Is the question.
Well, the door had a problem as far as locking or something.
No.
So even though she put her key in it and it didn't kind of work, but then she was able to just push it open because the door did have a problem. I guess he must have been in a pretty secure place because he wasn't worried about his door being locked.
That's what I was gonna say. Mm.
In another conversation dated September 4th, just 2 days before the shooting of Jean, Geiger responded to a text proposing a German Shepherd. And the dog's owner said the dog may be racist. Geiger responded, "It's okay, I'm the same."
And you think I got sympathy for her? Oh, okay. None. I was listening to Ricky Smiley, and I don't know, he feel the same way as I do, kind of. It's just like we keep forgiving, and we're culture. Like I was somewhere out of town, and I kept saying thank you to the server,
Hmm.
and she would not say you're welcome. She brought the straws and dropped them on the table. I was like,
Where were
girl, you
you
got the
at?
right one
Wait.
because
You
the
were out
Lord is on
eating.
your side today.
You were out eating, and this
Yeah. I was at well, yeah, I was out. I ain't gonna
in
put them
Chicago.
out. No,
Darn
not in the
it.
city.
Okay.
But it's just like it's a table. I felt like Get Out. I just saw a table with two black ladies and two old ladies, and the rest of them was white. And then we was a table full of black people. I'm like, we need to get up out of here. But it just felt like Get Out. It's just like, do we belong here? But she was just so rude. We were just so welcoming to her,
Like she didn't want you
Thank you.
there.
Yeah. We're like, thank you.
And did you get up and leave, or did you eat?
It was a group of us. I'm like, we need to go. They're like, we're gonna give her another chance. Forget her.
No, we don't give it another chance.
Thank
Because you know
you.
what people
But
do
that's
back in
okay.
that
We talked to
kitchen?
that manager though.
Okay.
Cause it's just like you just so rude. You just drop the straws. I was like, no, you did. Just thank you. I'm saying thank you. Nothing. I'm not gonna talk to you. I'm gonna do you. They like don't stoop to her level, man. Please. I'm not gonna keep giving you and you just being rude. So you're just gonna get the same attitude. I'm sorry. You give what you get.
Yeah. Particularly when you're paying good money, you're paying your money.
Yeah.
If I'm not getting service, I'm out. And then I
So
would talk to the manager on my way out.
yeah, I don't feel
So
I
yeah.
don't feel no remorse for her. She did these things, and Ricky Smiley talked about how we are so forgiving, we're so kind, we're so mannered. This is what we were taught, and then some people don't reciprocate that, and it's just like, why should we live in the world like that? And you have people like this who says things like, "I'm the same." Like, what? You make me think you purposely went to this man's apartment
Yeah. Yeah.
and did this because your messages show me something different, but then you want to cry a river in the courtroom.
Of course. Wouldn't you act like that if you were trying to save she's trying to save her life.
Man,
She was
whatever.
trying to get no years, not
But she
5.
didn't even ask for forgiveness. She didn't even ask for it because she just feels like, okay, it was justified. It was not justified.
Well, she said she thought she was going to her apartment. She saw a dark shadow
But
and
she
felt
didn't
her
ask for.
life was in
She
jeopardy
didn't
and
say, "Oh,
shot.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that." It was just okay. I thought it was. I didn't think it was my apartment. That was it. It's just like if you had that remorse as a person, you'd be like, "I'm so sorry," like to this family, to deserve a hug. But he's a young man. But I feel the mom. I ain't forgiving you, but I pray that you get whatever you need in those 5 years in jail and
And
figure
that's what
your
she
life out.
basically said.
Yeah,
That's what she basically said.
but
No,
no.
I wouldn't. If it was a sibling, a son, a daughter, a relative, forgive or you say. And on that note, we're going to be right back and continue talking about the trial and the verdict, the case, and some of the things that went on. You're listening to the Voices of Change on Intellectual Radio. We'll be right back.
What about my love? Seems you have forgotten love. I do believe that something went wrong somewhere. What about my feelings? Do they mean anything at all? You got me so in love, I'm too blind to see. But you got my love, wanna put me down. But you got my love, got me standing on shaky ground. What about it, baby? What about the days and the nights we spent? What about the love we made so sweet?
Play today, right? For those of you just tuning in, you're listening to the Voices of Change. Let me read some of the. It looks like Mark Harris. Hello, he is tuned in. Cynthia Cynthia Oda of Oda Enterprises, thank you. And Todd Alums is watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. Mary Anderson had a comment, and she said if she'd been black, she would have been sentenced to death. Let's not get it twisted. Yeah, you're right.
That part.
You're right. We were just talking about all the disparities in the cases. Similar cases, if it depending on what hue you are, is how the verdict will show up. Glenn Murray, the Murray Effect. Thank you so much for watching, Glenn. Did everybody hear that name, Glenn Murray, Murray Effect? Dave Lazar. Dave, where you been? We haven't seen him in church in a minute. Oops, don't want to call him out. He's working. Dave Lazar. Hey, thank you for watching.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, what we were talking about before we went to a quick break was we were talking about some points from the case. And Shamel was articulating the way she felt, and we were talking about. She said, let me tell you, the girls are racist anyway. I have no pity for her.
None.
And she went on to say she's tired of forgiving. And you were mentioning you were watching Ricky Smiley, and Ricky Smiley said, we're always forgiving. We're tired of forgiving. We come from a loving, forgiving culture, and we're tired of forgiving. So
I don't know. I was saying, she got 10 years for killing a man. And this black guy got 45 years for killing a service dog. What? Come on. I mean, yeah, it's a service dog, but it's a dog. This is a person. Not that dogs don't matter. I love my dogs to death, but it's just like it's not fair. And you want me to care about her hair? Man, please. It could be all over her head. Okay. You see the way that they fixed R. Kelly face when he was in that room? He looked all crazy.
Yeah.
Beard. Oh, come on. No, I ain't trying to hear none of that. Next.
Let's talk about some other things about your friend's character. One time she commented, she said, people are so ungrateful. No one ever thanks me for having the patience not to kill them.
Girl, you got the
wow. Another
she came
another text message exchange between Geiger and her ex-lover and police partner, Officer Martin Rivera, they got his name down here, took place on March 9th, and it reads, damn, I was at this area with 5 different police officers. Not racist, but damn. She didn't want to be with all them black men?
See,
okay.
You wouldn't find none of this in my text messages.
And then she said, not racist, but just have a different way of working, and it shows. This is helpful. Oops. Anyway.
See, everything I say is verbal. So unless you record it, then you ain't going to catch me saying anything.
Yeah.
I mean, if I say anything, it's not even racial towards anything. Even if it is about race, it's like I'm talking it out on this show and I'm speaking my truth, you know.
But you're not trying to do anything just racist.
No,
any kind of racial.
Like, I'm a people person. You're a person. We all have the same. We're all the same. Literally, we just have more melanin than you do. Everyone's human. There is whoever created race ruined the world. Whoever separated everything ruined it. If there was no race, what would you think?
But it would have been separated because we look different.
Yeah,
we could have had different color eyes, but we look different, so it still would have been separated.
No, but imagine a world without the word.
You mean
race.
If everybody was the same?
Yep.
Everybody looked the same?
Not looked the same.
Had the same color?
No, just didn't have a differentiation. We're African American. They're Caucasian. What if we didn't have that differentiation for each other?
Then they would say, she black and I'm white. They would coin it something.
No, we just human. Imagine that this just does not exist.
So it's colorblind.
Yeah,
colorblind
we
society.
could just live like kids come out not knowing there's a difference between white and black.
Boy, that's
if you don't teach
land.
your child, I'm just saying. Imagine if you don't teach your child, you're black, you're white. They just gonna be like, okay, la da 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 da. Imagine the world, la da 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 da.
I can't.
I executive producer laughing at me, but
I mean,
I'm just saying.
She's like, imagine it where, wait, I'm black as I am, and she's white as snow, but then they don't see a difference. We're just la la la.
Yeah,
la, la.
imagine.
Kumbaya.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I'm just saying. I think the world would be different without race. It would. So much different. I forgot the name of this teacher. She did like an experiment with her classroom where she told the kids with blue eyes are better than the kids with brown eyes.
Yeah.
And they were all white, but they flipped on each other like, man, please, I got blue eyes. You can't tell me nothing. It's just like, I mean, and then they flipped it the next day, and she did this experiment with third graders, and they were like bashing each other. They were mean to each other, even though they were friends before this experiment she did with them. But she just showed them how the difference is, and you can treat someone different because they got blue eyes. Oh, they're not better than you. You're greater than them. So at recess, you can't play with the brown eyed people.
Then imagine being raised in a culture where that is what you've been taught all your life.
Exactly.
Mm.
But
We would.
yeah,
Absolutely,
but
because we
yeah,
would.
she even did it with adults. I have to look her up.
With a what?
Adults. She
Oh.
did this experiment and she had the people come in who I don't. She did. It was amazing. She made these adults look like children, and they start acting funny towards each other. I have to look it up, and I'll tell you guys to look her up. But Jane Elliott, that's her name. Her name is Jane Elliott, and she even talked about it in a little hall. And she's like, if you were black or brown or whatever, she's like, raise your hand if you want to go through what they're going through.
Uh,
Nobody raised their
Well, who would
hand.
want to go through
And
grief?
they're like, exactly. So why do you treat them that way?
Because it makes me feel better.
That part. Jane
It makes me
Elliott.
feel superior.
Look her up.
Come
Oh
on
my
now.
God. That third grade experiment was amazing.
Okay, we're going to talk about the times that
Sorry. That's my girl.
Amber changed his story.
That's my girl. She was even on Red Table Talk.
Who, Elliot?
Jane Elliott with
Isn't she a
Jada
sociologist or
Pinkett.
something?
She was a teacher.
So
Oh, I
Geiger
know.
changed her story about the fatal shooting, saying he was coming at her, and then during redirection, she said he was by the couch. So they both live in the same apartment complex on a different floor. She mistook his apartment for her apartment. His door wasn't secure because it had problems. Prosecutor said Jean was in the living room getting ready to eat ice cream and watch TV. Geiger claimed she believed he was an intruder and fatally shot him because she thought she was in danger. Now he's sitting in the living room getting ready to eat ice cream.
Nice cold bowl.
So you think he was sitting there in the dark? Remember, she said the dark shadowy,
I mean, unless he's about to sit there and turn the TV on. Now, okay, I might come in my house. If the light is, I cut the kitchen light off. I go in here because I'm about to turn the TV on. It's still gonna be dark. So, but who eats ice cream in the dark?
So the defense claimed the Geiger mistake was reasonable. They said this is reasonable under the law, since she believed he was in her apartment, and of course he was going to hurt her because he was in her apartment. Now let's be objective here. If you went back home now to your big beautiful apartment and you thought you saw a man in there, what would you think? You would automatically think he was there to do something, right?
Exactly. But I ain't gonna shoot the man, unless he. Now, see, that's the thing. I think logically sometimes it's like I need to think: is this gonna be self defense? So I need you to lunge at me, then I'm gonna shoot you.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
I just,
exactly. Because I think about, well, who knows in that moment? You might be in the heat of the moment and afraid. That part. Come on, say it again. Get on the mic, executive producer.
she's a
'Cause
police officer,
she,
so what?
thank
She
you.
should be trained to
She
know
is.
how to. Yeah,
Come on.
that's you know what? I think I would probably feel a little better, not
Get
much
it.
better, but a little better if she wasn't trained. But she
I
is
get that.
trained.
If she was not
She's
trained, and
right. If she
if
was just
she
a little
was
girl
just
coming in from the gym, scary and everything,
exactly, and she
I
was
would feel a
licensed, if
little
she was
right.
concealed carry,
Right. But this is a trained officer
Mm.
carrying her piece with her while she on the phone texting and come in there and did what
They
she
get to
did.
take their guns home. I don't know.
Why not?
I don't know. Leave it. That's what you need it for. You ain't no shit.
The defense did a good job though. They presented her affair with the police partner. They presented that she didn't stay on the 911 call. Now, if she was so distraught, oh I effed up, oh I messed up, oh I did, she didn't stay on the call. They always tell you stay on the call. She didn't stay on the call. And they said it was unclear whether she attempted CPR. Now she shot the man in the chest.
But
It's
you
unclear,
now,
so you don't even know if she tried to
no.
resuscitate or do
See,
something.
this is
And
the
again,
thing.
she's trained to do that.
Yes, because they teach you. You continue CPR until the ambulance gets there to relieve you. I know that because I was taught that in my CPR training for preschool. Come on now.
She had.
I know you know the training. If you're a police officer, you got to be kidding me.
So from the jurors, because
Right. I'm
everyone
sorry.
wanted to know what the heck happened from the jurors. So there was a juror who was on CNN, and she said, quote, I know a lot of people are not happy about the 10 years, but I felt like this case was not like any other case. It's juror number 34, who was a black woman. 10 of the people were non-white, 2 were white. You can't compare this case to any of those other officers killing unarmed black men. She said that. And she said because those officers that killed unarmed black men, when
'Cause
they
she
got
saw
out, they
them.
went back to living their lives. But Amber Geiger, ever since she killed that man, she's not been the same. She showed
So,
remorse and that she's going to have to deal with that for the rest of her life.
good for her.
So because she presented herself where the jurors felt sympathy for her.
Oh,
This is what she's saying, right?
yeah, whatever.
And this is a black woman.
Mhm.
So because
She
of
just
that,
like the judge. She hugging her and stuff. So okay, and they clearly forgot.
they said this isn't like a typical case because she showed remorse and she's going to be dealing with this for the rest of her life. And also during it, she was crying a lot too.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to hear that. I'm sorry. I'm just not. Whatever. And I feel bad for jurors. I feel like jurors should still be kept under wraps after things because jurors are attacked, after a while. And she need to come out and tell all that, juror 34.
Let's talk about the one Mammy. And she said she was a black law enforcement officer, and she don't understand why she's picking up criticism online after the video caught her stroking the hair of the white former Dallas police Amber Geiger just after she was found guilty. I guess she also felt like that one juror did, that she was remorseful and she wanted to make her feel better.
Hmm.
There was also a video that captured Judge Tammy Kemp. This really ticked me off because Judge Kemp was the one who went out and hugged her. And this is just crazy. Why did she I've never well, we've seen a whole lot of cases because a lot of them are televised now since OJ and even before that. Have you ever seen one come down and give a Bible and hug? Have
No,
you ever?
no. Because I think, like I said, she's a remorseful black person. How many other black judges have you seen in many cases in high profiles? They haven't been black. At least what I've seen, they have not been black judges. And like I said, we're more remorseful than our other counterparts that are not our color.
We are more remorseful. So we're more remorseful than white people?
Yeah,
We're more sympathetic? Yeah.
there we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, see, as a judge, she can't be like, girl, you got what you deserve. Like,
Well, she should have just been totally neutral, not doing the
exactly.
mammy thing. Why she gonna step down there with the
Hey,
Bible hugging
who
her?
killed this man before we got to get off?
Uh,
The other man, the witness.
oh, they don't know. That's all they've said about it.
But was he a witness for her or against her?
He was a witness for the prosecution against her.
Exactly.
He was a witness for
Mm.
a young, nice-looking guy, all of a sudden murdered, riddled with bullets. No one knows anything.
Oh,
His
okay.
body just laying out there. All of a sudden, they're here already. That that is really strange. So I'm going to leave with this thing on forgiveness because I'm going to talk about the 18-year-old brother Brant. He ended it, and we're going to end it with this because they're here already. He said, I want the best for you because I know that's what Botham would want for you, and that's to give your life to Christ. I love you as a person, and I don't wish anything bad on you, he said, before requesting that Judge Tammy Camp allow him to give her a hug. She collapsed in tears in his arms. Why do we? Well, he's 18, so I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to leave that alone. If that made him feel better, if that made him where he didn't have to shoot her, fine.
There you go. He's a young man.
He
Yeah.
is a young man, and I understand the whole thing about giving your life to Christ and forgiveness. I'm not gonna go up to this heifer and hug her. She done blew my brother away. I'm not doing all that. But he's 18. If that's how he feels, if that's what made him feel better and sleep at night, more power to him. Because forgiveness does not translate into not being guilty and that they're not going to get punished. She's
Yeah.
going to get hers.
Yeah.
She's going to get hers. You got any last minute words? We only got 2 minutes left on the show. Oops.
Hey, I don't feel no sympathy for her. I just hope that she figures out what she needs to figure out while she in jail, and uh, I just want her to be equally treated like everyone else who's been a convicted felon when she gets out,
We should probably follow that and figure
because
out
that's
which
what she
where
needs
she's
to do.
going. Because for all we know, she could be going to one of them little white collar
Oh, I
places.
wish they let the people in jail watch this thing unfold, so they be like, "Oh, you racist, huh?" No, I'm just playing. I don't wish ill on anyone, but I pray for her that she figures out what she needs to do.
Hmm.
But I have no sympathy.
I have no sympathy. But I do. The little 18-year-old guy. I'm not even talking about him as far as mammying, but I am talking about the judge, and I am talking about that bailiff. That was a bit much. That was what did you call it? What did you say? You didn't call it. You had a name for it, not forgiveness, but you called it. You mentioned you referred it some
Remorseful.
term. Yeah, the way black people do.
Yeah,
And
we're just forgiving. We're open hearted. We That's just the way we were raised, because of this turmoil we went through. So we have that forgive. We're like, oh, it's
or do we
okay.
just want to be, or we want to just be nice to this little. Anyway, I'm gonna leave that alone.
No.
On that note, I am going to go. You guys have a great week. We'll be back next week at 6 p.m. Voices of Change and Intellectual Radio.
Good night.
Good night.